What's up, everybody? Welcome to SLC Puck! All aboard! We are talking McBain Train tonight. I'm your host, Austin Facer. Thank you for tuning in. You're here probably because you've heard the exciting news. The Utah Mammoth have re-signed, a little bit of sandpaper in their lineup. Power forward Jack McBain inks a 5-year deal with the Utah Mammoth. Locked up for quite a while. Plenty more hijinks with he and his good buddy Dylan Gunther. The joke I saw on Twitter this week was that now they have some money to fix that hot tub of theirs. It doesn't need to be, have the stinky water, taking up space in the backyard, leaving a dry spot, right, on the grass. They can get that thing churning. Hey, maybe even get a hot tub that's a little bit of an upgrade from the $500 one you can get at Costco, huh? Maybe they'll get one with a full oscillating jets, maybe a built-in speaker, some lights. Get whatever you want, Jack McBain. Celebrate. Have some fun. A 5-year deal. 4.25 AAV. And by my math, $21.25 million over 5 years. That's a pretty good chunk of change. And I'll tell you what, it's a chunk of change I wouldn't mind having. And one way you can help me have a little bit of that kind of scratcheroo, head over to slcpuck.shop. This is a great way to support the show, guys. I do the show twice a week. Making some plans to expand the platform in some big ways for this season, for season 2 of SLC Puck. Your support goes a long way. I've got lots of great merch here at slcpuck.shop. All this stuff here, the Big Tusk Energy stuff, this upside down SLC Puck hat. Everything's less than $25. It's part of the limited time founding herd sale. So get there, get some good stuff, and represent. But man, back to our lead story of the day. Jack McBain, the Bain Train, Bainer, McBain, McDreamy, Dr. McDreamy. Who was that? That was you watched that show. I'm talking to my sister Sammy. She's in her. Patrick Dempsey in Grey's Anatomy. That he was Dr. McDreamy, and I think they called McBain McBabe. I think is his nickname. I'll tell you why. Let me look at this picture here. And if you're listening to this on Apple or Spotify, you're going to miss out on one heck of a picture. So make sure you switch over. But look at this picture of Jack McBain pouring water on himself out of his water bottle. Put that on a calendar and sell it, and you could finance the entire operation that's happening over there at the Delta Center. That's a heck of a photograph. I mean, I get it. I frankly get it. This was from Your Mom Loves Hockey about a week ago, and great news. Hey, good news for her and all the donors, the former donors. I don't think they could have taken any more heartbreak losing someone like Jack McBain, and if negotiations had broken down. Jack McBain, restricted free agent. The general manager Bill Armstrong, GMBA, talked about what kind of a duel he had with McBain's agent. There's a lot of back and forth. It looked like they were going to go to arbitration, but ultimately they avoid that and agree on a deal that keeps this guy pouring water on the back of his neck for 5 years. And my sister is sitting here in the room with me, and she likes it. She gets it too. And hey, who wouldn't get that, right? But hey, he's not getting paid to look good, people. All right, listen. I mean, it probably doesn't hurt, and it doesn't hurt his cause, right? But Jack McBain, I think, has been like a really valuable asset for the Utah Hockey Club. I keep doing that. What's their name now? The Mammoth, the Utah freaking Mammoth. I got a Mammoth right here behind me. For the Mammoth, for the hockey club last year, I thought he had a terrific season. He did a lot of great things for the Mammoth. He had a career year in goals. I think he also led the team in fights. Yeah, career year in goals with 13. Had 8 fights, I believe. I saw that stat from Adrian Denny, who, by the way, is doing an excellent job on Instagram. I think he's new to the game on Instagram, so AD's putting a lot of great Utah Mammoth insider content up. And also, he's given a nice little food tour of Salt Lake City, and Adrian, a longtime voice of the Utah Grizzlies, went down to work for the Tucson Roadrunners for a little bit, back here with the Mammoth as the radio host for Hockey Night in Utah. He knows a good food spot here in Utah. So if you look, and you know me, I would eat at Crown Burger every day. You shouldn't come to me for a restaurant recommendation. But Adrian Denny had some great stats here. 6'4", Jack McBain, 25 years old, coming off a 13-goal season, ranked 6th in the NHL with 281 hits. That ranked first on the Utah Hockey Club. Now they're the Mammoth. He led Tusks up with 8 fights, played in all 82 games in 2 of his last 3 seasons, ranks 3rd in the NHL with 832 hits since making NHL debut in April of 2022. And again, if you're wondering though if this is a good deal, it seemed that that's a good chunk of change for someone who only scores 13 goals a year. He's a perennial 26, 27 point per year guy. That's a substantial chunk of change. I've come to really appreciate the good folks at AFP Analytics who give a little context on each of these signings. It says right here, the third line center is locked in long terms, more years, higher AAV, but manageable and reasonable considering performance and role. And let's not forget the salary cap is also going up the next few years. So that it's going to be less of a percentage on the total cap value, the cap hit percentage. But I mean, Jack McBain, his agent did a pretty dang good job. I'd say that, getting him a nice chunk of change here. We can see, according to AFP, and these guys, gather all the analytics. They have maxed at beta right here. Jack McBain ranks in the 96% percentile in physicality, 97th in zone denial. It's a great defensive player, power forward. Face-offs, 80%. That's pretty dang good. Say that, but it kind of doesn't really have a very hard shot. Interestingly, for a guy who's 6'4", not particularly fast either. Puck management skills also in the lower half of the scale there. But again, his agent did a great job. You can see here projected contract details, again, comparing him to other players of his type in the National Hockey League. These guys thought he was going to get like a 3-year deal, maybe get $3 million, total value $9 million. McBain's agent scored him a 5-year deal, total value of $250,000. So very, very good work by Mr. McBain's agent there. And now again, a big piece of the puzzle has been filled. I think this was something that was kind of hanging over everybody's heads here. Those of us who have been following the Utah Mammoth offseason and been delighted as well. I think it's a big relief to have this shored up and not have to worry about it. I think there's a few reasons for this. I mean, for me, obviously, when we first think of Jack McBain, it's not crazy to recognize that he and Dylan Guenther are quite the tandem. I think they dressed up. I wish I had this picture ready, but I believe they dressed up as Dumb and Dumber, Lloyd Christmas and Harry Dunn. I believe that was one of their Halloween party, costumes when they were with the Coyotes in 2023 or something like that. Before they got to Utah, they were the Dumb and Dumber boys, and it's so freaking fitting. Like it's clear those guys are like good friends, they're good buddies. They both kind of talk in like a monotone voice. They're very much like, like a match made in heaven, right? They are Harry and Lloyd. So if you got to think here, if the Utah Mammoth are inking and labeling Dylan Guenther as one of the future stars, cornerstones of the franchise, that's not an unreasonable thing to think, right? He was second on the team in scoring, I believe, or second or third. He was up there, might have been the leading goal scorer for the Utah Hockey Club last season. Hey, keep this guy happy. Best way to keep him happy, keep his roommate around. Don't let his roommate, hit the market. Anything can happen when offer sheets come in. He would have been crazy to not take the highest offer sheet available. So they avoid that. They avoid disrupting the good camaraderie that he and his buddy Dylan Guenther have. They don't want to break up the household. So they keep McBain in-house. But I mean, apart from that, that's just a minor detail. he has such an important role in this team. We saw this last year with the Utah Hockey Club. They were a little light sometimes. They weren't quite as heavy as they needed to be competitive against some of these tougher teams. By the way, did you see the team that just won the Stanley Cup this year? Holy hell. Those guys are big, nasty, mean. I'm talking about the Florida Panthers. I'm talking about Matthew Tkachuk. I'm talking about the Rat, the little fella who plays like he's 6'4", Brad Marchand. To compete against these teams that they might face in the Stanley Cup playoff, and they wouldn't face Florida in the Stanley Cup playoff unless they, made it all the way to the final. But to play against these upper echelon teams, they got to get heavy. They got to stay heavy, and that's a big reason why Jack McBain is going to be around. I mean, look at the physicality he brings to the team is so crucial, and I think he commands a lot of respect from the National Hockey League. I mean, I've talked about this so many times, like. One of the standout moments from the last season for Bainer was the Capitals game when Alexander Ovechkin was here, scored 2 goals, injured his knee, missed a few weeks after that. It was Jack McBain who laid the hit on Ovechkin. I don't think it was a particularly dirty hit, but just happened to be one that injured the Great Eight. And Tom Wilson was like, "Listen, dude, we don't do that. You don't hurt Alex Ovechkin." And he dropped the gloves. Challenge McBain. McBain answered the bell, and afterwards, Wilson was like, "Listen, hey, that's just hockey. That's what you got to do." And I respect McBain for answering the call there. So he's a guy who commands respect around the hockey league. They know that he's a heavy hitter. I mean, AD pulled a great stat there, but I'm sure it's well known around the National Hockey League. Just looking at all the metrics, that this guy is a heavy hitter. I mean, and look at this. He can back it up with his fist here. I want to show you guys a fight from this last season against the Tampa Bay Lightning. I don't know if you guys remember this one. Here, let me pull it up here on the Puck Vision screen.
Gergensen steps out of the box.
Gergensen's right. He's going to step out of Tampa Bay, right? This was on March, towards the end of the season. Gergensen's from Tampa Bay is going to come out of the box and immediately look at McBain. I believe they had a hit earlier in the game. I don't remember this game particularly well. Hey guys, really quick, want to interrupt the show for just a moment to remind you guys that we're working with Payne Anthony Creative Jewelers and Jonathan's Jewelry on an incredible giveaway. It's the Grab Some Ice giveaway. All you got to do is scan this barcode right here, hit send on the message, or if you're listening to this on Apple or Spotify, just go to the link in the show description. You'll be entered to win a $250 gift card to either one of those locations. Jonathan's Jewelry, which is in Cottonwood Heights, or Payne Anthony Creative Jewelers, which is at Trolley Square. Awesome location. Hey, even if you don't win, you can still enjoy the benefits of this partnership that we're so very proud of. Just mention SLC Puck. They'll knock $100 off your purchase. And hey, you're probably going to need a ring. You're probably going to need some bling. You got someone in your life that you need to show some love to. What better way to do it than with something from Jonathan's Jewelry or Payne Anthony Creative Jewelers? So big thanks to those guys for their support of SLC Puck. And let's get back to the show.
Shots on that man advantage for Utah.
Gergensen's right there. They're going to talk right there. Gloves dropped.
And here we are going to have a fight. This is Gergensen's
gloves dropped.
Jack McBain.
And he's answering the hit. Yep, for a hit. Oh, baby. Popped him right in the jaw. Oh, baby. Yep, 1, 2, 3. Easy dub for Jack McBain. There you go. The fans at Delta Center going crazy. The Utah Mammoth need this guy in the lineup. And it's particularly exciting when you also consider the another big signing we had this month, Brandon Tanev, a guy who's been known to muck it up as well. He plays a pretty similar style as Brandon Tanev. And you can just kind of imagine, like, around playoff time, and the lineups may change, right? I'm looking right now at the line combinations here on Daily Faceoff, right? There's still some chess pieces to be moved here. We're not sure who's going to crack the lineup. I mean, I read a really great article in the Deseret News today by my good buddy Brogan Houston. It made a really compelling argument that Cole Boudouin, Kobo, may have an excellent chance of making the NHL roster this year. He showed up to development camp looking pretty husky, pretty bulky, and I know the coaching staff and the decision makers for the Mammoth really like Kobo. So again, this all might change, but just looking at who is going to suit up in one of the shiny new Utah Mammoth uniforms next season, you can just imagine like this like heavy hitter line with Lawson Krause on one wing, Jack McBain at center, and Brandon Tanev on the other wing. And it's like, holy cow. I mean, just imagine this. I mean, just for one, consider the nicknames in that line, right? You got Turbo on one wing, McBain Train in the middle, and the Sheriff on the other. Like, that's going to be one of the greatest all nickname lines in all of hockey. But the physicality these guys are going to be able to bring, particularly when they're, you know, perhaps in the postseason or battling for a playoff position, that's something to be very excited about. So again, he fills a really important role for the Utah Mammoth. Third line center is probably a perfect spot for him. We can expect to see him there for about 5 years, but I think this is something to feel really good about. I know I do myself. So, you know, hey, hats off to Bainer, and congratulations on a big signing and well done. And whoever your agent is he taking more clients? Is he interested in helping me leverage some deals? I have a great partnership right now with our good friends at Payne Anthony Creative Jewelers, Jonathan's Jewelry. Scan this QR code in the corner. There it is. And, you know, but hey, let's get some more deals. So, you know, for those of you who want to see this thing grow and thrive, you know, I think I'm with you. I think I should give Jack McBain's agent a call here. So, I'm a little bit, kind of melancholy tonight, to be completely honest with you guys. So this episode's going to be a little shorter than they usually are. I'm recording tonight on July 9th. It's 8:30 p.m. And I might get emotional because I'm going to play a video here in just a second that I don't think I'll be able to watch with dry eyes. I've had to do this a couple times on SLC Puck where I have to like recede or, you know, I have to move into a serious persona for a second just to pay homage to someone we've lost. And today, this afternoon, that was the case here in Utah. It was announced that by his family and the Utah Jazz and the sports community at large that former Utah Jazz head coach, front office executive, marketing whiz, you might say, overall funny man, legend, larger than life persona, Frank Layden, passed away today at 93. So I mean, 93, that's a great life, a life very well lived. I had the opportunity just in different roles to be around Frank a couple times, and it was interesting. You know, you see these pictures of Frank Layden. I'll just put one up here on the screen for you when he was the head coach of the Jazz. It's kind of an iconic picture there. Big guy, but you know, it was kind of interesting to watch him age. You know, he got thinner, but you know, you see him around sometimes, and sometimes you'd have the good fortune of hearing him talk, and he was still just sharp as a tack and super funny. So, you know, at 93, leaves behind really an incredible legacy. When I think of Frank Layden, I don't remember his run with the Utah Jazz. He might not have been the coach very long. I don't remember exactly the years he was the coach of the Jazz. I'm more of the Jerry Sloan. I don't think he was the head coach at all of the Jazz in my lifetime. Yeah, I think Jerry Sloan and Ty Corbin and Quinn Snyder and Will Hardy have been my Jazz coaches in my lifetime. But I know Frank Layden is the guy who would sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" at Bees games quite often. That was always a treat to hear him. He Brooklyn guy, loved baseball, loved singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." So this tweet popped up from September 24th, 2023. I believe this might be one of the last games which Steve Klauke called for the Salt Lake Bees, who also passed away last year. and I had to talk about Steve last year, or I got the opportunity to pay tribute to Steve last year. So I want to play this video just real quick here at the end, just as a tribute to Frank Layden. This is how I'll always remember him. Seeing him sing with Steve Klauke here might make me a little emotional here. So let's just play it and see what happens. Well, legends of sports here in Utah. It's crazy that we're in this new world where these guys are no longer physically with us, but the legacy left behind by Steve and now Frank is pretty awesome to think about. And again, real treats to have been around these guys and enjoyed the way their talent and passion impacted our local sports scene. So I don't really like to end with the music when I play stuff like that. So I'm just going to close out, guys. So a big thanks to you guys for tuning in to another episode of SLC Puck. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Big Tusk Energy for all your merch needs. And stay tuned. We'll have some more exciting announcements for you guys soon. SLC Puck, bigger and better. Oh, I forgot. I did that whole thing about Frank Layden. I forgot to show that I have a little bobblehead right here. So, bobblehead's big part of the show here. And oh, look, there's a Steve. Oh my gosh, isn't this crazy? Look what I have. Look what I have. Okay, I'm glad I saw this right before I closed it out. Look what I have right here. I've got both the fellas there keeping me company here at SLC Puck. So that makes me feel good. It's nice to see. So anyway, sorry guys. Appreciate your support. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll talk to you guys soon.